Earth. A planet overflowing with wonders that defy the limits of our imagination. We are only a mere fraction of this universe, a world shaped over 4.5 billions of years before our very existence, and will continue to evolve long after each and every one of us. Across continents and oceans, nature's story unfolds. From the highest waterfall to the planet's lowest point, these are the places that seem to hold the heartbeat of the Earth itself, untouched by humankind. Welcome to the greatest natural wonders of our planet. Angel Falls, Venezuela. The depths of Canaima National Park reveals the world's tallest waterfall plummeting from the cliffs of Tepuy, Angel Falls. Cascading nearly a kilometer from its towering summit, the water falls uninterrupted for 807 meters. Born from the rainwater of the Tepuy's flat top, the falls carve a path through ancient sandstone, creating a veil of mist that drifts over the rainforest, nourishing the lush vegetation clinging to the rocks. At the base of the falls, the Charun River winds through the valley in a calm, amber flow, tinted by tannins from the jungle floor, reflecting the strength of the falls above. The massive tabletop mountain, Tepuy, is itself a natural marvel, with vertical cliffs that rise sharply from the surrounding jungle. Known as the House of the Devil, it's said to be a realm inhabited by powerful spirits. These spirits dwell atop the mountain, casting their influence over the lands below and urging people to keep a respectful distance. Each drop of water in the falls is part of a cycle as ancient as the Tepuy itself, where the Earth's contours and the flow of rainwater meet in a display of sheer wonder. Raja Ampat, Indonesia. In the far reaches of the Indonesian archipelago lies Raja Ampat. This is one of the last truly wild places on Earth, a realm that has crafted landscapes beyond the bounds of imagination, where nearly 1,500 islands rise from turquoise waters in dramatic limestone cliffs and lush greenery. Here, the water remains so clear, it mirrors the sky, a brilliant sapphire canvas edged by untouched beaches. Tucked within this maze of rock and reef is the Love Heart Lagoon, a secluded inlet that forms a perfect heart cradled by towering walls. The lagoon's shallow waters shimmer in striking hues of aquamarine and sapphire, a contrast to the deeper blues surrounding it. Beneath the surface, an entirely different world awakens. These waters harbor one of the richest marine ecosystems on our planet. Coral reefs are layered in vivid mosaics of color, hosting a kaleidoscope of marine life. From swarms of parrotfish darting among the branches, to solitary sea turtles gliding gracefully through the depths. Every creature finds its place in the intricate balance of this underwater world. Thor's Well, USA. Along the rugged coast of Oregon, Thor's Well presents a dramatic spectacle carved into the rocky shoreline. This natural sinkhole, sometimes called the drainpipe of the Pacific, appears to swallow the ocean itself as waves surge over its edge. Formed over thousands of years by relentless wave erosion, this jagged basalt chasm comes alive during high tide or stormy weather. Water spills over its smooth, dark walls, funneling downward and momentarily vanishing before erupting back with force. The well is part of the Cape Perpetua Scenic Area, a region known for its combination of forested cliffs and dramatic ocean vistas. Towering spruce and fir trees meet rugged, windswept cliffs that descend sharply into the Pacific. Each wave that collides with the rugged coast mirrors the dance of Thor's Well, where the ocean's breath is taken in and hurled back in a tempestuous display. Vatnajökull National Park, Iceland. An ancient world of ice, Vatnajökull spreads across the Icelandic landscape like a frozen ocean, vast, powerful, and breathtakingly beautiful. Covering more than 14,000 square kilometers, the park encompasses a diverse range of landscapes that showcase some of Iceland's rawest, untamed nature. At its heart lies the Vatnajökull Glacier, the largest glacier in Europe spanning over 8,000 square kilometers. Its surface reveals a striking contrast of smooth ice sheets and deep, glowing crevasses. The ice stretches into the horizon, an endless white expanse that feels as if time itself has slowed. Framing the glacier's edge, Jökulsárlón forms a tranquil lagoon where icebergs, carved from Vatnajökull's frozen mass, drift slowly toward the sea. The icebergs display bands of blue and white, gradually eroding in warmer waters to mark the transition between solid ice and the open ocean. The park's raw power is showcased by Dettifoss, one of Europe's most forceful waterfalls. Plunging 44 meters into the rugged Jökulsárgljúfur, its glacial meltwaters carve deep into volcanic rock, sending mist high into the air and creating rainbows that arch across dark cliffs. In contrast, Svartifoss, the Black Waterfall, reveals the volcanic artistry of the region, surrounded by dark hexagonal basalt columns that look as though they were meticulously carved by human hands. This waterfall cascades over volcanic formations cooled from ancient lava flows. The stark black columns provide a dramatic frame for the rushing white water, epitomizing the park's blend of glacial and volcanic beauty. Beneath Vatnajökull's icy surface, a hidden world reveals itself. Glittering ice caves, glowing in shades of blue so deep and rich, they seem almost unreal. Carved by the hand of nature, their walls are smoothed and polished by meltwater, but they are fleeting, a masterpiece of ice that will melt and reform, only to vanish once again. Phung Nga Bay, Thailand. Set along Thailand's Andaman Sea coast, Phung Nga Bay reveals a landscape unlike any other, where towering limestone karsts rise from emerald green waters. Spanning 400 square kilometers, this ancient bay is a geological wonder shaped by tectonic forces and centuries of erosion. The karsts, some reaching 300 meters, stand as weathered pillars of stone. Their surfaces range from smooth, rounded forms to jagged spires with foliage clinging to crevices, a surreal contrast of green against muted gray. Dense mangrove forests wind through these formations, their roots twisting and anchoring into the soft mud, shaping a complex network of natural corridors and secluded lagoons. These mangroves don't just thrive along the bay's edges, they define the land itself, stabilizing shorelines and preventing erosion as they buffer the coastline against the tide, adding to the bay's quiet, timeless rhythm. The Dead Sea, Israel, and Jordan. Nestled in a vast rift valley and sinking to one of the lowest points on Earth, the Dead Sea holds a haunting beauty. Its waters, nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean, create an otherworldly buoyancy that lets anyone float as if weightless. Near the edges, the water appears almost metallic, its stillness broken only by subtle ripples that reflect the stark beauty of the surrounding desert. Gleaming salt formations rise along its shores, their crystalline shapes sculpted over time as the waters recede, leaving behind jagged salt pillars and intricate patterns that trace the edges. Surrounded by arid plateaus and rugged hills, this ancient salt lake appears almost lifeless, yet it teems with geological marvels, its mineral-rich mud treasured for its reputed healing properties for millennia. A small, solitary island rests within the lake, crowned by a lone, bare tree, an unlikely symbol of resilience against this harsh, mineral-laden environment. In this quiet expanse of the Dead Sea, life and barren beauty coexist. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, China. Amid the ethereal mist of China's ancient landscape, colossal stone pillars rise like remnants of a forgotten world, formed by nature's patient hand. These sandstone columns, remnants of an ancient seabed, have been sculpted over millions of years by wind, water, and time. Standing over 200 meters tall, their vertical cliffs seem almost impossible. Monoliths that stretch toward the heavens, often wrapped in a veil of mist that adds to their ethereal presence. It's a landscape so extraordinary, it inspired the floating mountains in the movie Avatar. This is a landscape where nature's forces have created something beyond imagination, ancient and otherworldly. Whitsunday Island, Australia. In the heart of the Great Barrier Reef, Whitsunday Island reveals a hidden paradise, shores wrapped in one of the purest white sands on Earth. Whitehaven Beach stretches in a sweeping arc, its almost impossibly fine silica sand contrasting vividly against the surrounding turquoise waters. Overhead, the view transforms into a painter's palette, where tidal currents swirl the white sands into intricate patterns, creating a living mosaic of blues, greens, and whites that shift with each passing wave. The water itself is crystal clear, revealing an astonishing range of hues, from the palest aquamarine near the shore to deeper shades of cobalt further out. Each day, as the tides change, the sands and waters choreograph a breathtaking display, the colors and patterns reflecting the sky's own shifts from dawn to dusk. When the sun begins to set, the entire scene is cast in golden light, and the sands appear to glow. Whitsunday Island unfolds as an ever-changing landscape, its beauty felt in the quiet simplicity of each natural element. Milford Sound, New Zealand. Carved by ancient glaciers, Milford Sound cuts deep into New Zealand's fjordland, where sheer cliffs rise from the dark waters below. Waterfalls cascade from heights of over 1,500 meters, their streams fed by the surrounding peaks which loom in mist, shrouded and still. Among these, Bowen Falls stands as one of the most striking. Dropping 162 meters, it pours down the rock face in a powerful, unbroken stream before joining the fjord's waters below. The falls not only adds to the dramatic scenery, but also serves as an essential freshwater source for the nearby settlement, illustrating the deep connection between land and life. The mountains themselves are formidable, with thick forests of mosses and ferns clinging to their slopes. Exposed granite and slate gleam under sunlight, their rugged surfaces etched with grooves left by relentless erosion. When rain arrives, the mountains come alive, water trickling down their faces like roots reaching into the earth. Hundreds of temporary waterfalls emerge and fade as quickly as they appear. But on calm days, the fjord becomes a mirror, reflecting the peaks and waterfalls in near-perfect symmetry. Known to the Maori as Piopiotahi, the fjord carries legends of gods and ancient journeys, adding cultural reverence to its rugged beauty. Here, rock, water, and sky converge in a landscape shaped over millennia by natural forces. Lençóis Maranhenses, Brazil. Located in Brazil's northeastern corner, where the desert meets the sea, lies Lençóis Maranhenses, a place where nature blurs the line between water and sand. The landscape appears endless as waves of pristine white dunes stretch across 1,500 kilometers, shaped by wind and time into fluid rolling forms. But the true wonder lies beneath. Each year, the rain transforms this desert into a riveting canvas of blue lagoons, creating a scene that feels like a dream. The colors are striking. Brilliant white sands ripple underfoot, their fine grains shifting like silk in the wind, while the crystal-clear lagoons mirror the sky in shades of turquoise and emerald. The dunes move like waves here, frozen in place yet constantly shifting, their ridges casting long shadows as the sun moves across the sky. Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. On the volcanic Ijen Plateau of East Java, Kawa Ijen reveals one of nature's rarest displays. Just before dawn, blue flames flicker across its floor, an otherworldly fire fueled by sulfur gases escaping from deep fissures. As daylight breaks, the crater's rugged shapes soften, unveiling an immense turquoise lake. Intensely acidic and uniquely tinted by the minerals deposited through geothermal activity, this vivid expanse, stretching across the crater's basin, is both beautiful and inhospitable, a surreal contrast against the dark, weathered rocks surrounding it. Lush forests cling to the lower slopes of the volcano, their green depths framing this geothermal marvel. Mist settles over the mountainside, lending a quiet stillness as sunlight spreads a golden hue across the plateau, where fire, water, and stone converge in an extraordinary scene. Ilulissat Icefjord, Greenland. Near the Arctic Circle, the Ilulissat Icefjord reveals a landscape where colossal icebergs drift steadily toward the open sea, each one a striking formation shaped by time and elements. Spanning more than 40 kilometers in length and 7 kilometers in width, this ice fjord is fed by the vast Surmek-Kujalleq Glacier, one of the world's fastest, surging forward up to 30 meters each day. The icebergs here can rise over 100 meters above the water's surface, each one varying from jagged peaks to smooth arching forms, their surfaces etched with lines and grooves that glint in shades of deep blue and ghostly white. As they break from the glacier, these icy giants release deep, resonant sounds that echo across the fjord, punctuating the stillness. Against Greenland's rugged coastline, this landscape captures a moment of natural balance, where ice, sea, and sky meet in a spectacle that feels unearthly. Survagsvatn, Faroe Islands. High above the North Atlantic, a remarkable illusion unfolds, a vast lake that seems to hover in mid-air. Cradled by towering cliffs, Survagsvatn appears suspended far above the sea, though in reality, it rests just 40 meters above sea level. At the lake's edge, Bustala-Fossur waterfall cascades 30 meters into the Atlantic, its torrents meeting the turbulent waves in a dramatic encounter of freshwater and sea. Shaped over centuries of relentless erosion, this waterfall is among the Faroe Islands' most striking features. From the heights of Trelanipa, a towering cliff above the North Atlantic, the full illusion reveals itself as lake, ocean, and sky merge into a seamless panorama. But the cliffs hold more than breathtaking views. Known as Slave Cliff, this site is marked by a tragic history, where slaves were once cast into the sea, a haunting legacy within the majestic scenery. Socotra Island, Yemen. In the Arabian Sea, far from the passage of time, lies Socotra, a place where nature seems to have rewritten its own rules. This island, with its jagged mountains, limestone plateaus, and scattered sand dunes, feels like a landscape from another world. Isolated from the African continent for millions of years, Socotra has become a cradle of evolution. Nearly 1/3 of its plant species exist nowhere else on our planet, each uniquely adapted to survive the island's arid conditions. Among these is the dragon blood tree, its thick branches spreading like an umbrella over the rocky terrain. These ancient trees are masters of endurance, some existing over 300 years old. Its name derives from the deep red resin it produces, once believed to be the blood of dragons. Deadwa Lagoon unfolds in stunning shades of turquoise and emerald, its waters bordered by sweeping white sands that arc gracefully along the shore. At low tide, narrow sandbars emerge, creating intricate patterns on the water's surface. Khaleesan Canyon slices through the landscape with steep, layered walls, each rock stratum a record of the island's geological past. Narrow pathways weave through the canyon's shadowed depths, where weathered stones and scattered boulders lie strewn across the floor, telling their own silent stories of time and erosion. In the distance, the Haggahur mountain ridge rises sharply, its peaks casting long shadows over the plains below. Socotra remains a world apart, a natural wonder shaped by time, isolation, and the relentless forces of survival. Diamond Beach, Iceland. Where the icy waters of Jökulsárlón meet the open sea, Diamond Beach emerges as a breathtaking fusion of ice and black sand. Immense icebergs break from the nearby Breiðamerkurjökull, drifting from the lagoon until they reach the shoreline. Each iceberg transforms into a breathtaking work of art. Some are as large as boulders, while others are as delicate as glass. In winter, the beach transforms into a frozen landscape. Frost clings to the icebergs, and the black sands turn silver under a layer of ice. In this remote and hauntingly beautiful place, Diamond Beach is a fleeting landscape. With each passing day, these icy monoliths are slowly reclaimed by the sea, melting back into the ocean that once gave them shape, leaving only the black sand as witness to their transient beauty. Avenue of the Baobabs, Madagascar. Along a dusty, sunlit road in Madagascar, the Avenue of the Baobabs rises like an enchanted grove from another world. These ancient giants, some over 800 years old and standing 30 meters tall, line the path with their swollen trunks, adapted to store water and survive the intense dry seasons. Their sparse root-like branches reach into the sky, casting twisted silhouettes that create a surreal scene against the barren landscape. As dusk approaches, a golden light envelops the avenue, and the trees' immense trunks glow with warm, earthy hues. Shadows stretch long across the ground, their delicate lacework interwoven between trunks, while the sky behind them shifts to deep amber and violet. Each baobab, with its ancient scars and resilience, embodies a landscape that feels eternal, deeply rooted in the essence of Madagascar itself. Plitvice Lakes National Park, Croatia. In a landscape where water and stone unite in a delicate balance, Plitvice Lakes unveils a network of 16 terraced lakes, each cascading into the next through a labyrinth of waterfalls. Some falls rush with thunderous force, while others trickle softly over moss-covered stones, creating a symphony of sound that reverberates through the ancient forest. Formed over millennia, the park's waterfalls owe their beauty to the slow deposition of calcium carbonate, creating natural dams of travertine. These barriers are ever evolving as the water carves new paths, constantly reshaping the landscape with each passing season. Wooden footbridges wind through the park, skimming the water's surface and offering intimate views of the cascading falls and crystal-clear lakes. The paths seem to float over the water, immersing you in the heart of this aquatic paradise. In autumn, the park glows with brilliant shades of gold and crimson, mirrored in the still lakes, creating a scene where water and color flow seamlessly together, a dynamic masterpiece always in motion. Nepali Coast, USA. This is where earth and ocean meet in their rawest forms, where sheer cliffs plunge into the sea and lush hidden valleys lie beneath mist-laden skies. Rising over 1,200 meters along Kauai's northwest, the Nepali coast unveils layers of green and earthy red volcanic rock, forged by eruptions and sculpted by centuries of wind and rain. Ancient Hawaiian legend reveres this land as the realm of gods and spirits, shielded from outsiders and accessible only by treacherous trails, boat, or air. Sharp ridges and knife-edged pinnacles stretch for 17 miles along the horizon, creating a formidable yet breathtaking boundary between land and ocean. Within this rugged terrain, narrow valleys open to secluded beaches, where waves roll in rhythmic swells. Waterfalls thread down from high above, vanishing into the dense vegetation before meeting emerald pools. A landscape of wild beauty, enduring in serene isolation. Victoria Falls, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, where the Earth's power reveals itself in its most raw form. Victoria Falls stands as the world's largest sheet of falling water. Formed by the relentless erosion of the Zambezi River, it stretches 1,708 meters wide and plunges over 100 meters into the basalt chasm below. For millennia, water and rock have collided here, shaping the cliffs and gorges that define this iconic landscape. Known as Mosioatunya, the smoke that thunders, the falls are part of a series of fractures in the Earth's crust, caused by tectonic shifts over millions of years. These fractures guided the river's path, forcing it to carve its way through the rugged landscape, creating the sheer drop that we see today. During peak flow, over 500 million cubic meters of water cascade over the edge every minute, sending mist soaring into the air. Rainbows often arc across the plumes, visible from as far as 50 kilometers away. Standing on the edge, the power of the falls is unmistakable, a continuous reminder of the natural forces that have shaped this land over eons. Fjallajökull Canyon, Iceland. In the heart of Iceland's untamed wilderness, the canyon emerges like a forgotten chapter in Earth's history, challenging both imagination and pronunciation. Carved over 9,000 years ago by the retreating glaciers of the last ice age, it stretches nearly 2 kilometers, its walls plunging 100 meters deep into layers of volcanic rock. This narrow chasm was carved by the relentless flow of meltwater over millennia. The Fjallajökull River, winding through the canyon floor, reflects the lush green moss and delicate ferns that cling to the rugged walls. Each layer in its towering cliffs reveals a timeline of eruptions and sediments, a geological record written in stone. Once revered by ancient Norse settlers, the canyon's dramatic landscape was seen as a sacred space, woven into the myths and legends of Iceland's early inhabitants. Fjallajökull's beauty lies in its stark contrasts, the sharp lines of volcanic rock meeting the soft greenery of the canyon floor. It's a place where time feels both frozen and in motion, a living monument to the Earth's slow, persistent forces. Antelope Canyon, USA. Where light and shadow shift in harmony, time seems to vanish, and the unfiltered beauty of the Earth comes alive before your eyes. Antelope Canyon is one of nature's most captivating works of art. Its sandstone walls rise like flowing waves up to 120 feet high. The canyon's narrow passageways were carved by flash floods, with torrents of water rushing through the rock, slowly shaping the walls into the smooth, flowing form seen today. Each flood over thousands of years wore away the sandstone, creating the canyon's iconic twisting shapes and intricate curves. As sunlight pierces through the slender gaps above, the walls come alive, glowing in fiery hues of red, orange, and pink, colors that shift and change with the movement of light. In Navajo tradition, Antelope Canyon holds spiritual significance, believed to be a sacred place where divine forces dwell. The graceful curves are seen as the handiwork of nature's spirits, illuminating the path between the physical world and the spiritual realm. Underwater Waterfall, Mauritius. Off the southwestern coast of Mauritius, an extraordinary illusion emerges. A vast underwater waterfall, seemingly plunging into the ocean's depths. From above, it looks as though the sea itself is spilling over the edge of the earth, but this striking vision is a trick of nature, where sand and silt cascade down the steep drop-off of the Mascarene Plateau, creating the illusion of a waterfall beneath the waves. This phenomenon occurs near the Limorne Peninsula, a region shaped by ancient volcanic forces that once formed the Mascarene Islands. Here, the ocean floor plunges over 4,000 meters from the lagoon's turquoise shallows to the deep blue of the open sea. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. An endless white expanse stretches as far as the eye can see, transforming into a perfect mirror during the rainy season, reflecting the sky in stunning detail. This is the surreal beauty of Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. Covering over 4,000 square miles in southwest Bolivia, it's the remnant of prehistoric Lake Minchin. As the lake evaporated over 30,000 years ago, it left behind a thick crust of salt, creating a landscape that feels almost otherworldly. When rains arrive, a thin layer of water turns the flat into the world's largest natural mirror, blurring the line between earth and sky. Reaching depths of up to 10 meters, the salt crust supports vehicles and tourists exploring its vast surface. Across this striking landscape, islands like Incahuasi host life with towering cacti and resilient flora thriving in isolation, providing a glimpse of nature's ability to adapt in even the most extreme environments. Pamukkale, Turkey. Imagine a landscape so surreal, it resembles a winter wonderland, yet exists in a sun-drenched Mediterranean country. Welcome to Pamukkale, Turkey's Cotton Castle. Here, white limestone terraces cascade down the hillside, forged by the steady flow of mineral-rich hot springs, creating a masterpiece of nature that defies belief. These terraces, formed by deposits of calcium carbonate, create shallow turquoise pools that ripple gently down the slope. Their wave-like edges seem almost too perfect to be natural, yet they are the product of geothermal forces at work beneath the Earth's surface. The experience of bathing in these thermal pools is unlike any other. The water, rich in calcium, bicarbonate, and magnesium, is believed to have therapeutic properties, drawing people from around the world seeking its healing benefits. As you step into the warm, mineral-rich waters, you're not just relaxing, you're immersing yourself in a living, growing natural phenomenon. Krimmel Waterfalls, Austria. In the Austrian Alps, the Krimmel Waterfalls tumble through rugged rock, cascading in 3 powerful tiers to form Europe's highest waterfall, dropping over 380 meters. The falls carve their way down the mountainside, winding through cliffs and sending up a fine mist that drapes the forest below in a veil of moisture. Towering evergreens and alpine flora thrive in this misty atmosphere, their verdant color contrasting against the rocky landscape, while wildflowers bloom during the warmer months. Come winter, the scene transforms. Snow blankets the forest, and ice forms along the waterfall's edges, casting the falls in an almost crystalline stillness. The falls surge with the melting snow, each drop of water adding to the roar as the river swells and spills over the cliffs in torrents, revealing nature's changing face with each season. Giant's Causeway, Ireland. In the days of myths and giants, it's said that the Irish warrior Finn MacCool built a stone path across the sea to Scotland to challenge the giant Bonandanner. But when Finn saw his towering size, he retreated. His clever wife then disguised him as a baby, and when Bonandanner saw the child, He could only imagine the immense size of the father and quickly fled in fear, tearing up the causeway and leaving only the stones behind. But in reality, this iconic landscape was forged around 60 million years ago by volcanic activity. As molten lava erupted and flowed toward the sea, it cooled rapidly, contracting into a series of precise hexagonal columns. Over time, these formations solidified into a striking arrangement of nearly 40,000 interlocking basalt pillars. The columns rise up to 12 meters high in parts, creating tiered platforms that seem to descend into the ocean. As waves crash against this natural fortress, the stones glisten under changing skies, while tidal pools nestled among them reflect hues of blue and gray. Though the science behind its formation is understood, the legend of Finn McCool adds a mythical dimension to this landscape, blending Ireland's ancient folklore with a geological marvel shaped by fire and time. Durmitor National Park, Montenegro. Among craggy summits and deep valleys within the Montenegrin wilderness, Durmitor National Park reflects the majesty of nature's work, a wilderness shaped by ice, wind, and time itself. Jagged peaks, some soaring above 2,500 meters, cast long shadows over the valleys, while the Tara River Canyon slices through the earth, its turquoise waters carving one of Europe's deepest gorges. Scattered across the park are the Gorski Oči, the mountain eyes, a network of glacial lakes that shimmer in hues of emerald and sapphire. The largest of these, Black Lake, nestled beneath towering pines, its mirrored surface reflecting the rugged mountains beyond. These lakes are remnants of the ancient glaciers that once blanketed the region, now a peaceful contrast to the sharp ridge lines and rocky terrain surrounding them. In Durmitor, the dance of water and stone has shaped a world of extraordinary beauty, where the stillness of the mountain lakes and the raw, untamed wilderness of the peaks create a sanctuary for those who venture into its depth. Grand Prismatic Spring, USA. Deep within Yellowstone's ancient landscape, a radiant pool shimmers like a liquid rainbow, its colors swirling in vivid bands that seem to defy nature itself. This is the Grand Prismatic Spring, a hot spring so vast it could be mistaken for a portal to another world. At 370 feet in diameter, its stunning colors, deep blues in the center, shifting to fiery reds and oranges at the edges, create an awe-inspiring spectacle. This kaleidoscope effect is created by thermophilic bacteria, microscopic organisms that thrive in the intense heat, producing vivid pigments that reflect their survival zones. The air shimmers with heat, and the water reaches a blistering 188 degrees Fahrenheit, a temperature inhospitable to all but the toughest microorganisms. Throughout the year, the spring transforms as temperature shifts, and sunlight alters the microbial communities, causing the colors to ebb and flow. Aurora Borealis, Arctic regions. In the dark skies of the Arctic, one of the most breathtaking phenomenon occurs. Waves of green, blue, and purple light dance across the horizon, painting the night with colors from another realm. This is the aurora borealis, a cosmic interaction that begins on the sun. Solar flares release charged particles that travel through space, colliding with Earth's magnetic field. Near the poles, these particles energize oxygen and nitrogen, creating the luminous displays we see today. Above snow-covered landscapes and frozen lakes, the auroras reflect in shimmering patterns, adding to their unearthly beauty. Sometimes, the colors pulse in waves. At other times, they fall in quiet, slow arcs, leaving behind only memories of their brilliance. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Long ago, as legend tells it, a mighty dragon descended from the heavens to protect the land. With its fierce tail, it lashed against the earth, carving deep valleys and hidden grottos, leaving behind a labyrinth of towering islands in its wake. This is Ha Long Bay, a vast seascape where over 1,600 limestone islands emerge from jade-green waters. This natural wonder was shaped by ancient tectonic movements and millions of years of erosion. The forces of wind and rain slowly carved this seascape, creating steep towering pillars of limestone. Some towers rise sharply, sheer and rugged, while others slope more gently, their cliffs softened by dense greenery and dangling vines. The bay's waters shift with the light, moving from shades of turquoise to emerald as the day progresses, mirroring the islands and adding to the surreal effect. In Ha Long Bay, nature has carved a masterpiece. Its vastness, its play of colors, and its quiet power serve as reminders of the forces that shaped this awe-inspiring realm. Barringer Crater, USA. In the arid expanse of northern Arizona, a colossal ancient impact scar lies etched into the earth. Barringer Crater, one of the best preserved meteorite impact sites on the planet. Roughly 1,200 meters wide and plunging over 170 meters deep, this immense crater reveals the raw force of a cosmic collision that struck over 50,000 years ago. The crater's creation began with a meteorite, a massive hunk of nickel and iron hurtling through space at nearly 12 kilometers per second. When it struck, the impact unleashed energy on par with a nuclear blast, displacing millions of tons of rock and leaving the crater's steep walls and fragmented rim. Along its edge, layers of exposed sediment and fractured stone reveal remnants of an explosive past frozen in time. The surrounding high desert, marked by sparse vegetation and reddish rock, amplifies the starkness of this barren, otherworldly landscape. Tsingy de Bemaraha, Madagascar. Known as Madagascar's stone forest, Tsingy de Bemaraha is a labyrinth of razor-sharp limestone spires that stretch toward the sky. Formed over millennia by water and wind erosion, these needle-like structures create a rugged terrain of deep ravines and narrow pathways. The limestone, weathered into jagged peaks and sharp ridges, gives the landscape an almost otherworldly appearance, with shadows shifting across its intricate forms. Among the rocks, patches of trees and rare flora and fauna cling to life, their roots finding hold in the stone crevices. These plants have adapted to survive in this challenging environment, creating pockets of green within the stark gray spires, a vivid contrast of vitality and stillness. Triglav National Park, Slovenia. In the heart of the Julian Alps, Triglav National Park reveals a landscape sculpted by time and nature's raw force. Towering above all is Mount Triglav, Slovenia's highest peak at 2,864 meters. Its limestone face forged millions of years ago by tectonic movements and glacial shaping. Flowing through this dramatic landscape is the Socha River, a brilliant turquoise ribbon that winds through narrow gorges and broad meadows. Known as the Emerald Beauty, the Socha's intense color comes from limestone sediments, which reflect the light to create its iconic hue. Its waters support a network of flora that colors the riverbanks, while meadows blanketed in wildflowers thrive along its course in spring. The serene Lake Bohinj sits encircled by forested slopes and rugged peaks, formed by ancient glaciers that once carved through the valley. This lake reflects the surrounding mountains in mirror-like clarity, its waters shifting in color from deep blue to soft green depending on the light. Often wrapped in morning mist, Bohinj holds a quiet beauty, contrasting with the dynamic flow of the Socha River. As seasons pass, Triglav's landscape transforms, its peaks and rivers blanketed by snow in winter, and the forested valleys alive with green in summer. In this ancient park, each river, mountain, and lake stands as a storyteller. Horseshoe Bend, USA. As if the land paused mid-sculpture, Horseshoe Bend defies simplicity, revealing a sweeping curve carved by the Colorado River over millennia. Located in Arizona's vast desert, this dramatic 300-meter drop reveals red sandstone that encircles turquoise waters, tracing a natural arc that captures the river's quiet power. Each layer of the canyon walls tells a story of ancient landscapes, their tones shifting from deep rust to soft gold, each color marking an era shaped by the elements. Water and wind have etched delicate patterns into the rock, giving the cliffs a rugged beauty that's both raw and refined. In the golden hours of dawn and dusk, the rocks glow with warmth, amplifying the canyon's scale and grandeur, leaving only the quiet flow of the river as witness. Trolltunga and Preikestolen, Norway. High above Norway's fjord country, two iconic stone ledges emerge from the rugged landscape, each shaped by millennia of ice, wind, and relentless weathering. Trolltunga, also known as the Troll's Tongue, extends horizontally above Ringadalsvatnet Lake, a stone ledge stretching out from the mountainside, suspended over 700 meters above the lake's surface. With sheer drops on all sides, this ledge appears to defy gravity, hovering over the fjord's dark waters and steep, green valleys. Preikestolen, known as Pulpit Rock, rises nearly 600 meters above Lysefjord. This massive cliff face is capped by a broad, flat surface, as though carved with deliberate precision. The vertical plunge to the fjord below creates a striking contrast between land and sea, a dramatic meeting of rock and water. Above Lysefjord's deep blue waters, Preikestolen reveals Norway's wild landscapes in layers of craggy cliffs and distant peaks, each face of the fjord telling a different story of erosion, weather, and geological history. Together, Trolltunga and Preikestolen capture the stark beauty of Norway's fjord country, monoliths that tell a story of ice, stone, and time, standing silent and unyielding. Niagara Falls, USA and Canada, where torrents of water plunge over cliffs in a relentless cascade, one of Earth's most powerful spectacles comes alive. Straddling the border between the United States and Canada, this colossal waterfall system is a monumental force with volumes of water crashing over rock faces at a rate of 3,000 tons per second. Three powerful waterfalls, Horseshoe, American, and Bridal Veil, form a vast panorama of mist, light, and sound. Horseshoe Falls, the largest of the three, curves in a dramatic semicircle, plunging over 50 meters into the basin below. As the water crashes, a deep roar fills the air while mist rises and catches the sunlight, forming rainbows that arch over the falls, hovering briefly before fading away. To the indigenous peoples who first inhabited these lands, this awe-inspiring cascade was more than a natural wonder. It was a sacred site, woven into stories that honored nature's power and mystery. Landmannalaugar, Iceland. Where Iceland's highlands come alive with colors, lies Landmannalaugar. Its mineral-rich slopes and canyons telling stories of fire and frost. Crafted by ancient volcanic forces, the landscape displays streaks of red, green, blue, and golden hues, each color tracing minerals layered by geothermal activity over millennia. Along the valley floors, root-like veins course through the land, where rivers and streams have carved intricate branching patterns, as if the earth itself holds hidden rivers of rock. Twisted lava flows from past eruptions snake through the lowlands, their dark paths adding contrast to the colorful terrain. Steam rises from hot springs scattered throughout the valley, drifting in wisps that blur the lines between rock and sky. Its layered colors and natural patterns reveal a volcanic masterpiece shaped by fire, water, and time.